Hello everyone, how you going? And welcome to Average American versus Average Canadian. Now obviously the two countries overall are going to share a lot of things, but I just want to know how similar they are or how maybe different they are.
The international boundary is the official name for the longest international border in the world between two countries, specifically Canada and the United States, the second and fourth largest countries by area, respectively.
Of course. Just look at that. I mean, we'll calm down a second there. Here we go. I just didn't ever even realize that that was all part of Alaska as well. I just would have assumed that it kind of just went down here and just, well, I guess continued for Canada. But no, what the hell? How did the US just manage to squeak those ones by them?
These countries have ever-increasing close cultural and economical ties and similarities.
Here we go.
Their shared historical and cultural heritage has resulted in one of the most stable and mutually beneficial international relationships in the world. So how do their populations compare? With so much in common between these two nations, we thought we'd take a look and see just how similar and different the everyday person is in this episode of the infographic show, Average American versus Average Canadian.
The
population of America is just under 326 million people, with the average age being 37.9 years old.
Yep, there we go. Pausing that, 326 million with average age being what? 38? Oh, okay, the average age, not the average life expectancy. For some reason, I'm going, hang on, what? But no, obviously now we're going to be going over to Canada, and it's just those green numbers are going to be completely blown out of the water. Or no, not blown out of the water. They're going to blow whatever comes next out of the water.
And for Canada's population, the total is a little over 36 million, with an average age of 40.6. The average height for an American male is 5 foot 9 inches, and for a female is 5 foot 3.5 inches. For Canadian males, the average height is also 5 foot 9 inches and 5 foot 4 inches for women. What about weight comparisons? If a person's body weight is at least 20% higher than it should be, he or she is considered obese. When we looked at obesity for Canada versus America, most of the recent studies are for adolescents up to the ages of 19. In the late 1970s, obesity rates for children and adolescents from ages 3 to 19 in both countries hovered around 5%. Those numbers have shot up to around 13% in Canada and 17.5% in the US in recent years.
Okay, first of all, I just want to take it back a listen.
In the late 1970s, obesity rates for children and adolescents
for children, so
from ages 3 to around 13% in Canada.
Damn, so 13% of children are now obese, like not even overweight or anything, obese, which like you said is 20% over your, I guess, natural range or whatever it would be called.
And 17.5% in the US in recent years. Though Canada trails America in this area, it is steadily catching up.
Oh, look at that. It's a problem I'm well aware of, but still unmotivated to do anything about it. Oh, geez. I mean, I wonder if that's a political commentary or even just a personal commentary, but either way, obviously, you know, obesity is just a worldwide problem for a lot of the Western world.
So what does this say about diet, and what do these neighboring nationals like to eat? Canadians are known for eating poutine, which consists of french fries with gravy and cheese.
I can't believe that this is like a national food. I mean, I guess Australia has meat pies and things, but somehow I feel as though this is just worse than even any of those things.
Potato chips are also different in Canada. They like ketchup chips and all dressed chips, which are a combination of barbecue, tomato, salt, vinegar, sour cream, and onion. Other chips, which are a combination of barbecue, tomato, salt, vinegar, sour cream, and onion.
Well, I don't really know if we have anything that compares to that. Are they just kind of barbecue chips with a little bit of salt and I don't even know what? Okay, I'd love to try some, but anyway.
Other classic Canadian foods include smoked meat and beaver tails, which are fried dough shaped like a beaver tail with candy and chocolate on top. Americans, on the other hand, eat buffalo wings and s'mores, and of course are famous for their hot dogs and hamburgers.
Yes.
All foods that are also available in Canada, but are known for being American. When it comes to life expectancy, according to a report from the US National Research Council, Canadians are likely to outlive Americans due to being healthier and in better shape.
Wait, hang on a second. Pausing it there, is it due directly because they're in better shape? I feel as though that's quite a hard metric to measure. I mean, maybe you could be able to say it considering the fact that their obesity rates were lower, but generally I feel as though there are a lot more contributing factors to the entire life expectancy of a human. But anyway.
Health is determined by hundreds of things, and some of those are obviously more favorable in Canada than they are in the US.
Okay, well, if they're making a statement like that, I can only assume they're going to be backing up with some kind of evidence, but at the same time, just saying due to them being healthier, I feel as though, I mean, I guess there is no other real way to kind of put it. I mean, when you look at it at such a macro scale, it is so holistic in terms of, okay, do you have higher obesity rates? Do you have higher smoking rates? Do you have this or that, whatever it may be? And so I guess that just all contributes to overall life expectancy.
Says report co-author Samuel Preston, a professor of demographics at the University of Pennsylvania. Canadians born in 2007 can expect to live up to 82.3 years for women and 79.3 for men, compared to 80.8 and 75.6 for people born in the US.
Really? Is that it? I would have thought it was way higher, because I thought I read a couple of years ago even that we already kind of have an entire generation that is going to be pushing the door on 100 a lot more regularly. I mean, I don't know if it was a study or even if it was just a commentary, but either way, I mean, I guess it's talking about overall life expectancy, or I guess average life expectancy, not the boundaries or whatever it may be. Instead of the 1%, it'll be like the 10% hit 100, and that's a big, big difference.
So if Canadians are living longer, surely the healthcare systems of the two countries must differ. Let's take a look.
Here we go.
According to Wikipedia, the United States spends much more money on healthcare than Canada on both a per capita basis and as a percentage of GDP.
Wow, that's crazy. I would have said absolutely no way just based on what you always hear about the US. So what is this? In 2006, per capita spending for healthcare in Canada was $3,678, whereas in the US it was more than double that. How? Where's it all going?
2006, per capita spending for healthcare in Canada was $3,678, whereas in the US it was $6,714.
That's crazy.
In that same year, the US spent 15.3% of its GDP on healthcare, while Canada only spent 10%. And
what? I didn't even know the US kind of spent any of its percentage of GDP on healthcare, just based on what everyone always says. It's like, no, the individual always pays because there was virtually no government assistance, and so maybe they're building hospitals and things, but I've also heard that they're kind of privatized, and so I guess perhaps maybe they will tell us, but otherwise I would love to know if anyone knows, where does that 15.3% of the GDP go?
70% of healthcare spending in Canada was financed by the government versus 46% in the United States.
See?
In terms of access to healthcare services, in Canada, every legal resident is covered through a publicly financed provincial or territorial plan, whereas Americans need to purchase insurance to be covered, with the lowest income being eligible for public coverage through the expansion of Medicaid.
Oh, okay, so some people do get some kind of coverage. I've never heard about that before, but maybe that's a thing. Wow, that's new to me at least.
What about salaries, you might ask? According to the website numbeo.com, the average income of an American and a Canadian are roughly the same amount. Canada's after-tax monthly income is about $36,000 per year.
Wait, didn't they just say monthly income?
Roughly the same amount. Canada's after-tax monthly income is about $36,000 per year.
Yeah, hang on a second. They just said Canada's after-tax monthly income is about $36,000, and my brain went, what? And then it went per year, and I went, oh, hang on, but that just completely fried me. But no, okay, so the annual average salary is $36,000. Really? That is still lower than I would have thought. I mean, obviously I saw it before, but at the same time, I would have thought it would maybe 42 for the Canada, and then maybe 38 or something for the US. But I guess the USD, but at the same time, that is just way below Australia, I'm fairly sure. Like, we're like 48 or something, I'm fairly sure. I'm just reading it here, so obviously we've got this number, which is no way that that's correct, 89,000 as an average, but no, the medium income is 48,000. That's kind of what I had in my head, but yeah, that is what, like nearly 15,000, I guess different currencies, but $15,000 more. Well, actually, I guess once you actually convert it to this, it is virtually identical. I guess the US actually has more, and so, geez, okay then.
So we've looked at height, weight, health, and earnings, but what about the culture and lifestyle of these two nations, and how do they compare in these areas? When it comes to sports, Canadians love hockey. They play hockey, watch hockey, and have hockey on their currency, but surprisingly, basketball has overtaken hockey in Canada as the most popular sport.
Wow, what? That's crazy. I mean, I was also going to say they don't even have just whatever he said.
They play hockey, watch hockey, and have hockey on their currency.
Yeah, and they also have signs that point you straight to a hockey field as well. A hockey field, a hockey rink? I don't even know what it would be called, but either way, no, they just do certainly love their hockey, and so to hear that basketball's overtaken it, that's crazy.
Overtaken hockey in Canada as the most popular sport.
How?
Americans love football and basketball, and both nations enjoy and compete at baseball.
I was going to say, what? They're literally saying they love NFL and then also basketball, but then they're showing baseball, but no, both countries enjoy baseball. And really, I think the most surprising thing about baseball for me is just the fact that I'm fairly sure Japan has a massive baseball following, and I don't know how that originated or even just all of Asia. I have no idea, but I'm fairly sure that I've seen some pretty kind of international major tournaments between Japan and America and whatnot.
When it comes to schooling, Canada doesn't have middle school. Students go to elementary until 6th grade, and then high school from 7th grade to 12th.
Oh, here we go. There's the British coming out. That's exactly the same as Australia, and I can only assume the UK. So we're all within the same kind of mix, and that's because I guess we've taken the UK instead of the US's entire schooling system, which, to be honest, I don't even understand how the rest of the world does or how the US does it, because there's so many different factions and names for things. It's just too complicated. You know, you got freshman, sophomore, blah, blah, blah. I don't even know which one's which, but just give them a number and just move on with your day.
Grade before going to college. Apart from Quebec, where students finish high school after 11th grade and then go to vocational school for 2 years before going to college.
What? Let me just take that back and look at this. So Canada goes 6th, 7th, 12th, and then 11th sometimes, and then also this other one, vocational, 2 years before college. That's a little bit weird. So then you're going to be kind of having 13 years of school before you go to college. And then I guess in saying that, that is definitely where the US has influenced Canada. You know, I don't think the UK and we definitely don't really have any colleges, and so I guess that's where the US is going, no, here you go, have our colleges, but not our primary schools and I guess high schools.
In the United States, children go to elementary school until 5th grade, then middle school from 6th to 8th,
Why?
and finally high school from 9th grade to 12th grade.
I don't understand. You're just breaking it up so much.
After that, they can go on to college. And what about languages? Well, there are over 500 languages spoken by the US population, but only one official language, which is English, specifically American English. Canada has 2 official languages, English and French, and many Canadians believe that the relationship between these 2 languages is a defining aspect of the Canadian culture.
Yeah, I can absolutely agree with that, because I don't think there is any other kind of, I guess, Western world that has more than 2 languages spoken. I mean, maybe New Zealand, I don't really know, but realistically they're so small that they're kind of insignificant in terms of just a world superpower stage. And so yeah, in that regard, that, you know, having Canada as the 2nd biggest country in the world and one of the biggest economies as well, and at the same time just having 2 official languages is pretty unique, I have to say, so good on them.
Canada's Official Languages Commissioner has stated, in the same way that race is at the core of what it means to be American and at the core of an American experience, and class is at the core of British experience, I think that language is at the core of Canadian experience.
Wait, taking this back,
in the same way that race is at the core of what it means to be American and at
I'm really confused about what they mean by that. Like, are they having a dig, or are they actually just commenting generally? I have no idea.
The core of an American experience, and class is at the core of British experience.
I realize that that's just complete generalizations of both countries. That's really weird for them to include, I think.
I think that language is at the core of Canadian experience.
Wow.
So, can you think of other interesting comparisons?
I guess that is going to be the end of the video, isn't it? No, that was a great little video that just, like I was saying, I just don't know how the 2 countries compare, and obviously that was very statistical and compared to kind of just cultural and, you know, on the grounds experience, but at the same time, obviously both countries, like I said, they're very close together, they both share things, and they both have had a very good relationship for a very long time, and so it makes sense why they would be so similar in so many ways. But I just find it interesting to see, I guess, how obviously Canada has more ties to the British, and then also obviously the French influence. It's just how it's affecting the statistics of the country, whether it does or not is even irrelevant. It's just obviously people are having a different experience, even though they are right there and, as he said, share the biggest border in the world, and so that's pretty impressive if nothing else. And realistically, just to add on to the entire thing, you know, obviously every single country is going to have their own culture like these things right here, but obviously everyone can learn from each other and just continue to add on. And like I have said in previous videos, it's not about completely just doing an overhaul of the culture or just forgetting what it's been like or what it's about to be or whatever it may be. It's just about constantly just kind of evolving into just suiting what the country needs. And so yeah, obviously every single country just does that, hopefully. So then I guess in the end everyone just has their own culture to some degree, and so yeah, that's a great little thing. And you know, these countries are very similar, but they're also very different. But anyway, in saying that, I reckon I'm going to call it there. So thank you for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, make sure to do the YouTube algorithmic things down below. Other than that, if this is the first video that you're watching of mine, then you know we've checked out heaps of international things and Canada-based things, and also make sure to check out the original video in the description below, or hey, maybe even just want to consider subscribing so that you don't miss another one of these in the future. But all in all, have a good one and see ya.